All right, Maple Leaf. So now I'm going to teach you how to get recommendations. Okay, so go ahead and flip over to page 30 of your training manual. So this is arguably the most important part of the job. Okay, who can share with me why you think this is the most important part of the job?
This is how you get more for numbers.
Yeah, more leads, right? So take a look at the formula there at the top. Do you see where it says recos equals demos, demos equals sales equals income? Okay, so nobody has an unlimited amount of family and friends to show Cutco to. So we're going to teach you how to get really great with asking for recommendations. So this type of advertising, there's a lot of different ways you can advertise as a business owner, which you all are. There's a lot of different ways you can advertise. This type of advertising is called word of mouth referrals. It's the single strongest form of advertising. Do you guys know, do you know why? So word of mouth referrals is the single strongest form of advertising because people buy things and go to things based on trust. For example, let's say you go to a really good restaurant. What do you do afterwards? You're like, oh my God, I went to Dolcetto's. You got to go check it out, right? And then next time that person is like, oh, where should I go eat? They're going to go, oh, Lana told me I should go check out Dolcetto's. So I'm going to go to Dolcetto's. Do you guys follow? Same thing with a really good movie. What do you do after? You tell people about it, right? So word of mouth recommendations is actually a normal thing to do. It's very common in businesses to do word of mouth referrals. It's the strongest form of advertising. We're going to teach you how to do that. One thing that's really exciting when you're learning how to get referrals, we have a rep in our company called Vani Fast. Vani is the #1 Cutco sales rep in Canada, #1. Like to give you some perspective on how kick-ass she is, in 2021, just her, guess how much Cutco she sold, just her? 50,000? That's a good guess. That's a lot of Cutco. Try $1.1 million worth of Cutco. Okay, so to do that, you got to get really good at referrals, right? So that you can show the product to a lot of people. And so Vani has been doing this for a couple decades now. She's not new, right? But Vani gets paid thousands of dollars to go to a realtor event to teach real estate agents how to ask for referrals. Guess where Vani learned how to ask for referrals? Page 30 of her Cutco training manual. Okay. So I'm going to teach you how to ask for referrals. It's really straightforward. You just read it. You're going to get lots of recs. Now, before I teach you this, I want you to jot down two things I did really wrong when I first started, and I don't want you to make the same mistake. So go ahead and jot this down. So the first mistake I made, so when you're asking for referrals, #1 is ask every single demo. You have to ask on every demo no matter what, because you never know who might be in the market for Cutco. Do people wake up on a Saturday and go, I'm going to go buy some knives today? No. So when you're doing a demo, is it possible that you do a demo for someone, they don't buy anything, but they recommend you to their neighbor that buys the biggest set? Absolutely, right? So it's the #1 thing, because I remember I did a demo in my fast start, and I called my manager, Shayla, after the demo. I was like, hey, I just sold my first homemaker. I thought she was going to be really excited for me. She was like, great job. How many recommendations did you get? She was like, and I said, I was like, none. I forgot to ask. But really, I just didn't want to ask because I got nervous on that demo. She was like, go back. You got to go back and ask again, because she understood how important it was to get lots of recommendations. Okay. So that's the #1 thing. The second thing I would say is you have to ask on every demo is #1. #2 is you got to follow the approach. Follow the approach, follow page 30 word for word, and work towards getting it memorized. Because again, when I first started, I was struggling a little bit with getting recommendations. I called my manager, Shayla. I was like, hey, I'm not getting that many recommendations. She's like, are you following the approach? I was like, oh, kind of. She's like, that's why you're kind of getting recommendations. I've trained hundreds, if not thousands, of Cutco sales reps to do this job. It's impossible to fail. The only reason you can fail at this job is if you don't get this page down pat and nailed. It's impossible to fail. Okay. If you don't get this down pat. So at the top here, it says recos equals demos equals sales equals income. At the top, go ahead and jot down in all caps and memorize me. You don't have to memorize all of the pages on your Cutco demo. Page 30 is one of them. And the deal is in every job, you have to memorize something. If you work at Starbucks, what do you have to memorize? How to make the menu, right? How to make the drinks, the coffees, the macchiatos, blah, blah, blah. If you work at the sub shop, you have to memorize. Exactly. You can't start working at Jersey, the sub shop, unless you know how to make the sandwiches. Because then you're kind of like, if someone says, I want that sub, you're like, right. So that's in every job, you have to memorize something. In this job, it's your close, which is page 17, and the referrals, page 30. So first person in the training class to get page 30 memorized is going to get a vegetable peeler for free. You get that wicked peeler you tried yesterday? You're going to get that peeler for free. The peeler's worth, how much is the peeler worth? It's like $70. It's close to $70, like a peeler that you get to use. You could show to your customers, sell it for cash. All right, first person to get it memorized by the end of your fast start gets a peeler for free. Sound good? Okay, let's go through it there. So at the top, it says ask for recommendations before you finish entering the order and before you clean up. The reason you ask before you enter the order, before you clean up, is because it's going to give you time to do that after. If you ask for recommendations after you've already entered their order and cleaned up, once you clean up, the customer's going to be like, all right, we're done. And then you're going to try to like ask for recommendations because it's going to feel like the demo is already over. So you just want to ask before you enter the order, before you clean up. Sound good? So 3 keys: ask, smile, follow the script. Even if you sound like an idiot and all you did was ask, smile, follow the script, you're going to average at least 5 recommendations on every appointment, as long as you ask, smile, follow the script. Okay. So let's dive in. So you guys got the last word of every sentence. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, how did you like mine? Great. Go ahead and pull out your cell phone. You can answer that third question about my product knowledge for. There's no need to make me sound better than I want to get real feedback so that I can keep. And then you're going to walk the customers through questions 3 and 5. So you're going to see here, once they get to this part, question 3 is what? Please rate Jonathan's product knowledge. So on a scale from 1 to 10, at the end of your demo, once you're done your demo, they're going to go, all right, let's give them an 8. Continue. What feedback do you have that can help Jonathan improve their presentation skills? You're going to have access to this feedback as well as our managers. So this is going to be a great way for us to be able to coach you and help you get a little bit better. So I might say to my rep, I might say, great job. Was reading a little fast. That way you can take that feedback and get better after every single demo. What was the main reason you're getting Cutco today, or the main reason you're not? Again, it's going to allow us to coach you. So let's say getting Cutco guarantee is the main reason I'm getting it today. Now I'm going to submit the feedback. Okay, once they're done answering questions 3, 4, 5, you're going to set the phone off to the side. Then you're going to say, now there's one more very important. Here's where you can really help me. I get paid every time I show Cutco, but I can only show it to people that I've been personally recommended. I'm trying to keep a full schedule in order to hit mine. So what I need you to do is just go through your contacts and jot down the first 100 names that come to. Just kidding. And just make sure you smile. Okay. So you're going to go, just kidding. Actually, the app that you downloaded is designed to be a huge time saver for the both of us for this. I used to have to do this all by hand and have you write out the referrals one by one on a piece of. This app allows you to send me introductions straight through the app. So anyone that you recommend me to automatically syncs with mine. That way you don't need to take the time to write them out one by. This is much easier. And of course, I'll only be able to see the contacts that you send me. So on the bottom of the screen, you're going to click the share button, then hit OK to grant. Then it's going to let you select those 100 people that you wanted to refer me. Smile. Okay. You're smiling because you're joking, kind of not joking. Like if you got 100 referrals, is that a good thing? Okay. So some of your customers are like, sure, I'll give you 100. Some of your customers are going to be like, that's way too much. That's why you smile. They might give you 5. They might give you 10, 20, 30. Again, as long as you read, smile, follow this, you're going to average 5. Some will give you 10. Some will give you 2. Some will give you none. You follow this, you're going to average 5. Okay. So let's look at the buttons they're going to click now. So now I'm going to go ahead and click share. And you're going to see your customers are going to be able to select all of their contacts that they want to recommend you to. Do you see this? So what we used to do when I first started is I'd have these recommendation sheets. And what I used to do is I would put them down on these recommendation sheets and I would have them write out these are all the referrals I collected over the years, but I would have them write them out one by one. You can imagine if I'm doing name, relationship, phone number, and area, that's going to take like a couple of minutes per person. So with technology, what we've been able to do is now we have the app, it can just sync. They just click a person like this, boom, I click a person and I can recommend as many as possible. So this technology has helped our representatives get more referrals now more than ever. So when I'm going to keep scrolling, so I'm just going to select people. They can even search people. So let's say, just for an example here, let's say I wanted to select Emily Van Blyterveen. Let's say I want to select Tyler Hopper. Not popping up here, right? Oh, there he is, Tyler Hopper. Let's say I want to select Carter Penfound. And then let's say I also want to select Stephen Ilyanich. And then let's say I also want to select my mom. I want to recommend my mom. Okay. So then I have mom here. That's fine. Okay, so now I've got the referral that's going to say share 5 contacts. I'm going to share those contacts. It's going to walk them through our privacy policy. We don't save any of their data, so on and so forth. And I'm going to hit share contacts. Once I hit share contacts, where do you think those contacts go? They go to you how? To your Vector Impact app. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my Vector Impact app. I'm going to go back to Vector Impact. Okay, do you see right here where it says +3 recs? That means that the referral is uploaded, but I just have to refresh it. And then all the referrals that your customers gave you are going to pop up right here. Okay, now because I did it on my phone for myself, oh, there they are. You see that right there? So it said Tyler, Stephen, mom. Okay, do you see right here where there's like a little knife beside their name? We have a really cool system and database where if they've already purchased Cutco before, we know that they already purchased Cutco. And so that means that these people are Cutco owners. So that way, when you're calling, if you have someone that has a knife beside their name, you already know that they're a Cutco owner. And those are good people to show because a lot of Cutco owners end up buying more and love the product already. Does that sound good? So then I'm going to walk you through how to qualify the leads in a second once we get through this part here. So then once you walk them through the Grant Sexton app, you're going to say, okay, on this part, I'd like you to go ahead and check off everyone that you think might be nice enough to see me. Not necessarily people that you think would buy, just people who are nice like. Again, do people wake up on a Saturday and go, I'm going to go buy some knives today? No, they buy the knives because you get in front of them, you do a demo for them, you build value in the product, you share your goals. That's why they buy Cutco. And so are you looking for buyers? No, you're just looking for nice Mac customers, nice people that are willing to see you. They don't even have to be interested. You're just looking for nice people. So sometimes when you ask your customers for recommendations, guess what they're going to try to think of? They're going to try to think of, who do I know that would buy this? So you have to remind your customers, hey, they don't have to buy anything. I get paid just to show it to them. It really helps me up towards my goals. Okay. It's okay if they live in another province, since I can do both in person and online. Again, thank you so much for do you mind if I use your sink to wash off okay, why do you think we ask for permission to go wash our knives off in the sink? Yeah, like to be respectful, to ask for permission. The main reason is to give them what? The main reason that you're going to leave the kitchen table is to give them time and space to give them recommendations. Because if I just asked you for recommendations and I was like, it'd be kind of weird, right? And so you're giving them time and space to go through their phone and select all the people that they wanted to recommend you to. Okay, so that's step number 1 is asking. You want to work towards getting that memorized because once you have it memorized, you're going to get time. Okay. Our new reps average 5. Our top reps average 10 to 15 on every appointment they do. And our elite reps, they average, 20, 25, sometimes 30 on their appointments. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and role play page 30. You're going to do it 3 times each. So go ahead and stand up. You guys can role play with each other, pick a partner, and then role play it 3 times each. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how to explain the sponsorship program to your customers and then how to qualify the referrals once you get them. So let me pull up the app. Go and pull this up. Okay, so once your customers are on My Cutco Rep here, so they shared the contacts. I'm going to go back to Vector Impact app, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this here. Okay, so once we get to the sponsorship page, you're going to say, hey, this helps me out so much. Thank you. By the way, you can help me out and become a... When you give me 5 or more recommendations, you become a... When you give me 10 or more recommendations, I can give you the vegetable peeler for... Go ahead and scratch out. That's a typo. Scratch out, I can give you the vegetable peeler for free. Scratch that out. And then on top of that, just write 2x sponsor. They become a double sponsor when they give you 10. So when you give me 5 recommendations, you become a sponsor. When you give me 10 or more, you become a double sponsor. When you give me 15 or more recommendations, I'll give you a free peeler. Again, do people like free stuff? So this is one of the ways you can incentivize your customers to give you recommendations. And I'm going to explain how that works in a second.
What's the sponsor?
I'll show you in a sec, yeah. Once I get 50 sponsors, I win a free piece of Cutco that I'll redeem for a customer.
Wow.
I'd love for you to become a sponsor and help you get into the... Okay, so that's what a sponsor is. So if you flip over to page 33, you're going to see your customer recommendation sponsorship. So flip over. Do you see the page 33 here? Once you fill this page out, you give this to me. You can redeem it for a free piece of Cutco. And then all of your customers that became sponsors, that Cutco that I give you, you can put all 50 of those customers into a raffle for the free piece of Cutco. So in business, sometimes you have to incentivize people to give you referrals. It's kind of like, you ever have those skip the dishes coupon codes that your friends text you? So skip the dishes is investing into getting more referrals, to getting more people onboarded into their company, right? It's the same thing with Cutco. You can incentivize your customers to give you some referrals so that you could keep doing a ton of appointments. You guys connect the dots there? Great. So go back to page 31. Then it's going to say, is there any way you can think of blank more? So let's say, for example, they give you 7. You could say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, is there any way that you could think of 3 more to become a double sponsor, right? Because I'm going to show you, when I first started, I remember I did a demo for Christina Davidson. So Christina Davidson was one of my friend's parents. Christina Davidson, I remember being so nervous, by the way, just side note to doing this demo. I sat in my car, I left the car. I walked up to the front steps and I did like a 180. I almost turned around and left. That's how nervous I was. It was like my 4th demo, but I was like, you know what? I got this. I went and did the demo. We had a ton of fun. She bought a couple pieces, like 2 or 3 pieces. And then when I went to go ask for recommendations at the end, she gave me 5 recommendations. So again, you guys have the app, but at the time I was using my recommendation sheet. Okay. So you can see she gave me 5 recommendations at first. And then I said, hey, if you give me 5 more, you become a double sponsor. And so she was like, all right, I'll put 5 more down. And then on here is Peggy O'Shea. Peggy O'Shea was one of my first virtual demos. I sold a pair of super shears. On here is Jen Kitashita. Jen Kitashita already had Cutco. When I went to go show Jen, she had the signature set. She bought super shears, a couple extra steak knives to add to her set of Cutco. And then when I went to go show Jen, I'm going to show you the power of recommendations. Once I showed the demo to Jen, Jen recommended me. Okay, so this was my demo for Jen. Jen recommended me to 8 more people. She recommended me to Satvinder Dhillon. Do you see the last one here? So the last one on here, that's Satvinder Dhillon. When I called Sat, I went to go book the demo with Sat. She was super excited to hear from me. Then when I went and did the demo for Sat, Sat gave me another 5 recommendations, but guess what Sat bought? She bought the homemaker set. That was my first homemaker sale, was 2 to 3 referrals down the line. So remember, you have to ask on every demo because you never know who you might get recommended to. And then bought a homemaker. To this day, they love their Cutco. They've had it for like 6 years now. They love it. And they gave me 5 more recommendations. So can you guys see why I did really good at this job? It's because I got really good at referrals and I did more appointments than anyone else in the team did. And so you could see I have this stack. These are all the referrals I collected through my 3-year career selling Cutco. Okay. And so the sponsorship program gives you an opportunity to just get more referrals once you get your first few. So let's explain the peeler program. So go ahead and take a look there. The peeler program is optional, meaning you can do it, but you don't have to. So take a look here. So when the client makes an investment in Cutco and gives you 15 plus recommendations, you can bonus the peeler off in the Cutco Orders app. So when you make a sale this weekend, if they give you 15 plus recommendations, you can just add the vegetable peeler to their order. I'm going to teach you how to enter orders in a bit, and you can just give it for free. Now, if they don't buy anything, obviously you're not placing an order. Here's the alternative option. When the client does not invest today and gives you 15 plus recommendations, you can purchase a peeler from your local office for $10. So we have a really neat program where you can purchase as many peelers from the office for only $10. Now, how much is the peeler worth? Yeah, it's about $70, right? Now you can get it here at your office for only $10. Okay, again, this program is optional, but what you're going to learn is that sometimes in business, you have to spend money to make money. All right, because in exchange for the peeler that you give them, what are you getting? You're getting what? You're getting recommendations. How many are you getting? Emily, could you throw me the eraser? Oh, no. So you're getting 15 recommendations. So let me show you an example here. Okay, so let me show you an example. So let's say you exchange the peeler. So the peeler regular price. Emily, can you grab the exact price of the peeler? I don't want to keep saying 64. 64, it just went up. So the peeler is, now for you guys at the office, how much does the peeler cost you? $10. So your managers, we can buy peelers for $10 and we offer it for our reps for $10. Does that make sense? It's like a program in the office that we have available. Okay, so the peeler is $67. You don't pay $67, you only pay $10 as a Cutco rep. Okay, so now in order for the customer to get a peeler, they have to give you 15 recommendations. So let's say they give you 15 recommendations, and let's say that leads to another 10 demos that you do. What's your base rate? What's your base pay? $21.25. So if I, from those 15 recommendations, if I did another 10 appointments with my base pay, I'd be making how much? $212.50, right? So if it costs me $10 to make $212.50, is that worth it? Absolutely. Right. So again, in business, sometimes you have to spend a little bit of money to make some money. And here's the deal, is that if it costs you $10 to make $212.50, this is the base pay. You're going to make way more off the commissions. But that's just off the base pay to show you at a minimum what you would make on your return. Okay. So again, in business, sometimes you have to spend a little bit of money to make some money. So once you go through the sponsorship program and you go through offering the peeler program, again, that's an optional program. Our top reps, what they'll do is they buy like 2 or 3 and they keep them on hand. That way, when they do their appointment, they can show their customers, like they have it right there. There's something to be said about having the product with you. You can just show it to the customers. If they want to give you 15, you can just trade it for the peeler. Do people like free stuff? And that peeler, once they try it, they're gonna be like, "Bro, we gotta try it." Okay, so you can buy as many peelers, and when you purchase a peeler, your manager is going to give you a receipt because it's a deduction on your taxes. Because you're using it for your business, it's a write-off for you. Okay, step number 2 is what? Qualify your leads. So let me show you what it means to qualify your leads. You're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, go ahead, just out loud. As you select, I'm going to take down some notes as you go, just so I know these people a little bit better. So essentially, from all the referrals that your customers give you, you just want to get to know them a little bit better, and so that it's easier to book the appointments with them once you know them a little bit better. So what you're going to see is that in your Vector Impact app, once they come through on the Vector Impact app, you're going to be able to see the customer. So let's say, for example, my customer recommended me to Tyler. I'm going to say, Ms. Jones, tell me a little bit more about Tyler. Okay, that's the money line. Is tell me a little bit more about Tyler. Okay, is Tyler married? Yes or no? Why do we want to know if the prospect is married or not? Yeah, map, right? You want to know if they're maps. Yes, they're married. The other reason why is when you start calling referrals, which you're not going to do yet, but when you start calling them, like let's say Tyler got in a divorce 2 months ago, and then I'm like, hey, can your spouse be there for the demo? It's going to be a little awkward if I didn't identify, right? If he was married or not. Then I'm gonna identify if he's a homeowner. I'm gonna say, Miss Jones, how old is Tyler? Okay, he's 35. Great. So I'm gonna put 30 to 64. And does Tyler have Cutco? Okay, he already has Cutco. Great. And then if there's any notes, you can put that in here as well. Like, see, there's a note section. So your customer might say, hey, you definitely got to show Tyler. Tyler loves cooking. He loves doing briskets. So then I'm going to jot down loves briskets so that the customer has a note under there. Does that make sense? So you can do that for each of the customers that when you're qualifying leads. The last thing is just to send the customer the referral a heads up text message. So the app has a text automated for you to send to the recommendations in a text message. So once the customer recommends people through the app, they can just go ahead and hit text, and then they can send a text message to the people that they recommended you to make the connection before you call to book the appointment. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to pull everything together. So what you're going to do now, we just role played page 33 times each. I want you to role play page 30 and 31. Do it once or twice each, and then we're going to move on to the next section. If you have any questions, you can ask while we're role playing. Sound good?
So we do 30 and 31 together.
30, 31 together, pull it together. Yeah, you got it. So once or twice each. Okay. All right, go ahead.